What is up, PoxNora community? Bombman 007 back in the broadcast booth. Been out of it for a while. Thought the game was dead, but looks like the Owls have breathed a little bit of life in this game. So I'm here to try to start up some more videos, and we're going to start it out right. Couple of limited league players going on here. Auronzwei, 79 limited league going up against Dumpraiser. Been around a long time, 20 limited league currently. And we have Auronzwei playing Fulgar Swamp Sunderlands. Started out with a mixed mind warp there. And Dumpraiser may be playing Witches, so I'm actually kind of eager to see the Witches here since they've actually gotten Asari Coven fixed. So should be a good match. Dumpraiser been around a long time and really known for his Forsaken Waste play. So we'll see how he does against this split against Auronzwei. One of the things about my commentating that I think I appeal a little bit more to the new guys out there. Try to bring you instructions and explanations of what these guys are doing, as opposed to critiquing their play. And you know, I'm not overly a great player myself, but you know, get it done. There's a new rune out of the Ronin expansion, Dark Familiar. This cat don't look like too much when he starts out, but if you'll notice his upgrade ability here, Asari Dusk. Champion becomes stealthed and permanently gains 10 hit points max, 5 damage, 3 speed, stealth, and elusive. And it begins on cooldown, and after 4 turns he gets to snap that button. And this guy instantly becomes 8 speed, you know, mid 40s, 50 hit points with a banner. And stealth and elusive is just nasty. Gets to fly around all over the board, plus that damage increase. This cat's pushing 13 damage after a banner hits to play. And then of course Rip Witch. She is the beast of ranged for the witches. Deep Wounds adds an absolutely tremendous amount of damage, and the little familiar too has the exploit, so anything that's cursed he's going to heal back some damage. So very good non-witch supporting castrol there for the witches. And right now Dump tries to deploy up to the top to intercept this top font, and then Auronzwei does the same thing for this one. The problem is that the worm here is really fast with teleport 2. Effectively makes it a 9 speed champion. It's sitting on some ice terrain right now, which is the reason his speed's lowered there a little bit. Doesn't look like a whole lot when you look at the stats, especially compared to the Nora cost, but Darn Slipworm has been contesting fonts for ages now, and still viable, especially on these kind of maps when it takes, you got a deploy zone here, and deploy zone here. So by the time you've captured here and get over to here, you've basically gone, you know, this turn and then a deploy here to try to get up here, while this shrine can deploy here. And if you have a flyer or teleporter like Auronzwei does, you can actually beat your opponent to their font. And see, Dump's going to do the same thing. Auronzwei had a little bit of advantage in going first, but Dump is going to be able to get that imp in there to contest that font, and he's going to be really nasty once he gets elusive and everything. But Snogvy's going to hold that back a turn, so we'll see how this plays out. Old Snogvy, the ant beast, he's still deemed overpowered by a lot, running the Fascinate and the Sonic R3. So effectively this cat, you want to park him in the middle of all your enemies. He's going to drag them towards him and then deafening arm to death. They're going to take 3 damage every time they move and become distracted, which is a little rings around them, meaning that they can't use any of their activated abilities. So right now the witches can't use their cackle to make things weaker. And looks like Dumpraiser's called off his charge to the upper font. He's not going to engage that right now because of the Snogvi distract, and because even if he would get up there, his imp is going to be very weak and susceptible to a one rounding by the Salamon Rook in a spell, and effectively ending Dumpraiser's game right there. So he's going to back off and play it a little bit more conservatively. PoxNora is a fun game, ton of runes. It takes a long time to learn, and you know, when you can look at Auronzwei's battle group here going Fulgar Swamp and Sunderlands, there's not a whole lot of cohesion between those two factions, and so it looks like Auronzwei's going to be running more of a good stuff battle group. And when you hear that terminology in PoxNora, good stuff basically means some of the best runes from the faction is what the players will use. It's not necessarily a theme. It's not necessarily you know, a race or anything that goes together. Instead, it's just going to be some of the best runes that that are inside the faction, and that's the advantage of playing a split, is that you do get to pick, you know, the runes that fit your playstyle. You get a deeper rune pool, and right now that's the topic of conversation in the forums of should we reduce the faction bonuses even more, because see, as of right now, you know, Auronzwei's getting an extra 3 Nora turn, and each of their units are getting 10% less damage, you know, to a minimum of 1 on every single unit. So getting double the bonus there. And of course, the Forsaken Waste bonus has been critiqued for years and really downed. Not a favorite even of Forsaken Waste players. The cooldown reduction of 60 can work really well in some games, and then in others it's nearly pointless. And I think that's what the complaint has been for a long time. But it is what it is, and Forsaken Waste has just had to deal with that. So right now, Auronzwei's got the heads up, but that's the advantage of going first, especially on this kind of map, is he has just charged this font, has contested it with his Worm and the Hive relic now, so now it's a double whammy on Dumpraiser to try to clear that font out, which he's doing, sending the Cackling Witch up to help charge. And there goes our imp. So he just used his Asari Dusk ability to stealth. He is now a little bit beefier, a lot better stats, elusive. So he is going to be a little bit more of a force to deal with now. Dump goes ahead and attacks the Hive here, trying to get that thing off the board. He's really pressuring this way a lot. But the problem is his shrine is a little bit at stake here, even though it doesn't look like there's a whole lot out here. It doesn't take long to put a shrine down. A Coven Claw was put out to the battlefield, and knowing Dumpraiser's status here, I would have guessed that he would either have deployed it here or here, or somewhere in the font zone here. It's shrine deployment, because he's got his imp floating around in here, and he anticipates this Snogvi contesting the font. So he probably has his Coven in here somewhere, would be my guess. But it is hard to anticipate players' moves sometimes. So that's surprising a little bit. Going to go ahead and move the Worm in there on the 2 witches. That's an interesting call. We'll see how that pays off. The Worm does have a damage R of 3, so even though he didn't do too much damage, the R is going to snag him for 6. I actually anticipated Auronzwei to move that Worm out there a little bit and kind of keep it away from some harm. The Votary here, as well as the 2 witches, should be able to put that thing down next turn. So we'll see exactly how they do. This thing has Death Nova too, so when it blows up, it's going to deal 11 damage to each champion of relics. So it'll even hit his own hive and destroy it as well. So we'll see how that pays off for him. I'm not exactly sure, but right now the Rip Witch is in a little bit of trouble. Been given Wandering by the Mind Warp, which makes her move 2 spaces towards the opponent's shrine. The problem is, or actually 2 random spaces, usually towards the shrine is the way it's worded. The problem is with it being engaged to the Mind Warp, really kept her from moving that turn. So she's going to stay right there in melee with it. So we'll see. So Dumpraiser goes after the. Really, I'm actually. Okay, so there's our Pain Curse. It's the most well-known ability for the boat turret, because of it being able to do global damage to the entire board. Well, I mean, Dumpraiser is a great player. It's hard to criticize his gameplay. I'm a little shocked that he didn't bring the Votary on up to destroy the Slipworm. His Witch would have taken some damage, but I think between all of them, he may have been able to put it down this turn and blow up the hive with him. Maybe not. I didn't stop to really calculate the damage, so maybe he was out of range. A little rusty getting back into the commentating world. Been out of it for a while, so you'll have to forgive my non-meta style play here. Now that Coven is floating around here as well as a Witch. Now see, look. So he's already taken his Imp and placed it inside. That's my guess, is that's the Imp over here that has collected that font. So see, now being contested over here is not a big deal. Dump's already come back to basically settle the score. So he's down a little bit of Nora, but not too awful bad. And as you can see, Auronzwei comes back to... Oh, wow. Wow. Okay. So that is a double snog. Wow. 2 Snoggies. So you see, you can already tell Auronzwei's anti-stealth there. And the reason the Imp died, if some of you are wondering, that's not a bug or a glitch. The Imp has veiled flight. So when it loses stealth, it loses its flight. Dump had parked it over the chasm here. And so when Snog comes out and does his static greeting here, or his, what is it called? The sonic greeting. Everything takes damage. And so when that Imp took damage... Oh, this is not shaping up too well for Dump right now. When everything took that damage, the Imp lost its flight, and so it just chasmed out into the ravine there. So that's why Dump lost his Imp. And the reason this isn't looking too good is, even though Dumpraiser is on the verge of getting his font back, now he's got a big Nora deficit because of the ability on the Rook. Anytime this one captures a font, you gain 10 Nora. So Auronzwei's already captured, this font and this font with that Rook. So that's a pile of Nora that heads back into his bank. There's a Still Life on Snogby for a kill. Still Life is a great spell. It takes away 15 hit points from the closest champion and gives 15 hit points to your closest champion, as long as the target champion has 0 AP. Great combo with Drudgery and Punish. A few other abilities out there that can eliminate the opponent's AP. So like Dumpraiser could have also used it on the Mind Warp here. Mind Warp is a very aggravating rune because it goes around giving hallucinogens and everything, especially the range units, and usually leaves them as a sitting target. So Dump's going to capture his font up top or down low, whichever your perspective is. The Mind Warp jumps right back in there to contest the font again. Now that was a good turn for Dumpraiser. He recaptures his font, he gets a big piece off the board, and he puts this Mind Warp now in a position to at least be killed. He's got the Honing Spirit out, which right now is a rapid piece. This champion's healed for 2. For every champion play was soul tapped, and at the end of its turns, opposing champions within 2 spaces become soul tapped. So, very annoying piece. It's a ghost, which means it can only be attacked by magical damage. Okay, that's very key to remember. And it has depression, so it's a debuff for any champ now, including your own, within 3 spaces of it. It's going to have -2 to their damage. And then, of course, Sonic R3, it does 6 damage to champs at the end of its turn, or anything within 2 spaces of it. If some of you newer guys didn't know, you can always click on a champ to highlight their ability. Alright, so we got a double. There's Fauna Eruption coming from Auronzwei, and so, dude, I'm butchering your name, so I apologize there, Auronzwei. But he tries to pull off the double Fauna Eruption. It does kill Dump's. It kills his banner that he had over there, so everything loses 5 hit points. But I think he was going for a kill on the Cackling Witch. Didn't quite get it, but he does leave the Votary and the Witch in a very bad predicament. Very low hit points. So we'll see how that goes. But now here's the thing to keep in mind. Dump still has that Coven Claw floating out here somewhere. He just cast a Coven, and what that's going to do is, see, Coven is going to give every one of these units a Revel in Misery. So anytime an opposing champion with Cursed or Hexed is damaged by an attack, then this champion heals for 25% damage to the minimum of 3. So even though it only did 4 damage, everything with the Revel in Misery is going to heal 3 damage. So he just did a Pain Curse that hits everything on the board. So everything on the board takes 4, supposed to be 5, unless it's reduced by toughness or something, and or by magic resist, because it is magic damage. So everything is currently cursed. You can click that by just clicking on the champions to see what their current status is. So everything's cursed, and so therefore he gets to pull off the Pain Curse, and also to pull out the Revel in Misery on all those. He plays a Witching Hour, Witch's Hourglass. The Witching Hour is a spell that gives them all that. And then each friendly witch within 8 spaces gets Forsaken Exploit, which is, it's actually the exact same thing as Revel in Misery. They just haven't changed that name. It used to be called Forsaken Exploit. Oh, I'm sorry. It's the one that gives the 1 AP and the 2 damage. I'm sorry. The Revel in Misery is the healing one. So he goes for Poison Cloud to poison the Coven Claw here. So see right now what Dump's got going on is the Claw will actually be able to do pretty good damage because it has flanking. It's going to be able to heal, and it has the Forsaken Exploit. So this thing is it can really pull out some damage here. Auronzwei uses the Argyle for the telekinetic thrust. Here comes a spell. The problem is there's nothing going to die there. It's just... Okay, so down goes the relic. I'm trying to see. I don't think anything's gonna die. And it died. Because of the wandering and stuff, and because of the dots that were on it. So, using a lot of spells there. Spells are good ways to finish off things, but the biggest thing to remember about your spells is you have to get your Nora's worth out of them, because if you do not, then you've basically wasted it. If you don't get a kill out of a spell, it's just not worth it. Hello, Tommy. Hey, Regina. Okay. On 10:40 on when? Oh, Wednesday. Yeah. So we're going to Mary and I. Wednesday at 10:40. Okay, and what's the name? Ryan Stone. Okay? Ryan Stone, I know. But, alrighty, well, we got you. Yes, ma'am. Alright, thank you. Bye. And as you know it, a business call. Apologize for my departure there for a second. Okay, so let's look how our field is shaping up here. The rook hasn't moved a whole lot. We'll see what Auronzwei attempts to do here. So Dump's come back to capture his fonts. So we're even on fonts and Nora right now, other than a little bit from the Fulgur Swamp advantage. But Dump has really done a good job of turning this around. The Forsaken Exploit, the Revel in Misery has really helped to keep Dumpraiser in this game. He keeps healing up his units and keeping them on the board, and that's what Forsaken Waste has to do. If you do not have a death benefit deck, then a lot of times Forsaken Waste wants to keep their pieces on the board, and that's exactly what Dump has done. He's kept his things alive, but it's still a tight spot. There's going to be some healing. So see, there's the Pain Curse again. It hits 4 targets, so each of his are going to heal for 12. Look at that witch, nearly at the brink of death now, already back to 47 hit points. He's got his accursed Scrofula. That's a great name. He went with the defenseless upgrade, and it has the Revel in Misery because of the Witching Hour that's currently in play. And see, you can look in its buff spot here to see that it has Witching Hour in play. Surge Cursed, so for every cursed piece on the board, he's going to get a bonus damage here, which is currently up to 14, which is not too shabby for a 68 Nora piece that is attacks from range 4 to 6. Plus psychic damage, a good alternate damage type for the witches there. He can throw down some free skeleton meat. And that's going to do it for our goal. So all of a sudden, Auronzwei is looking in trouble. Off to a really fast start, did great contesting out the fonts and getting an early lead, which is known for Fulgur Swamp, kind of rushy play. But Forsaken Waste is doing its deal now. All it has to do is kind of stutter you up a little bit, just slow you down just a little. Forsaken Waste always starts out slow, but it builds, and that's the whole idea and the whole premise of of Forsaken Waste. So if you're playing Forsaken Waste and you're trying to go in there and win your games in 3 rounds, 10 rounds, you're probably playing it wrong. Forsaken Waste needs some time to get built up. It's going to be behind a lot of times, especially in the beginning, because the troops, if you'll look at them, I mean, you know, this guy's got a +1 speed going on, but you know, most, let's see, is there something? I'm trying to figure out why he's got a 7 speed. I'm not exactly sure right yet. Maybe it's, okay, it's the Witching Hour, +1 speed. So Witching Hour gives them +1 speed, flat and vaporize, which is not correct. Good grief. I think that's the old description, actually. Well, let's see here. My goodness. Well, there it is. Well, come back here. Come back here. Oh man, where'd you go again? Witching Hour, there we go. See there? It gives Friendly Witches +1 speed, flight, and revel in misery. The vaporize is the old description, so guys, owl guys, you need to change that in the description there under Witching Hour. Still showing vaporized, but you know, can't be perfect. They've done a good job revamping the game and trying to get everything kind of reeled in. Little less complicated, trying to simplify the game a little bit. Well, Dumpraiser, in the meantime, has taken full control of this game now. He has established his board control. He's got his ranged units backed up with some melee, using his cheap meat up here, the Cackling Witch, to keep everything kind of in check, and to soak up the damage from the Mind Shredder. The Nega Mage is a good Forglar Swamp piece that has the Sever Summon, so any summon piece he can destroy immediately. But right now, Dumpraiser's completely turned this game around. The Pain Curse, just wearing everything down over time, you know, keeping everything cursed, and just being able to heal back through Revel in Misery is just absolutely amazing, and the sustain there is absolutely incredible. And you know, a lot of people talk about the angels and how powerful they are and how crazy they are, especially this one right now. They've given it Regen 3 along with Enlighten, so this thing is healing for 12 hit points a turn. And we just saw a discussion on this the other day. How do you beat that? Well, here's how you beat it. You throw a Cackling Witch on it for 62 Nora and Disease Rhine in. That's how you do it right there. Play more Forsaken Waste. That angel is done, and so is Auronzwei. Dumpraiser comes back after a little bit of slow start, which is normal for Forsaken Waste, but come rolling back hard. The Revel in Misery and the Witch is just able to sustain long enough for a win. Well, anyway, guys, hope you enjoyed this. Bottomman 007 checking back in after a while. Hope you enjoyed it, and we'll see you next video.